What is up, people, and welcome back to my Rags to Riches F1 2010 to 2014 career mode. This is the career mode where we go from one of the worst teams in F1 2010, work way up through the ranks and through the teams, and try and get a drive for one of the best teams in F1 2014. We are currently in that F1 2014 season, so if you have missed any of the previous episodes, go catch up with the card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens. You'll find the previous episode at Monaco, which I definitely recommend you guys going to watch right now if you haven't already seen it, and of course the whole entire playlist if you have missed any other episodes in this series. But looking at the standings after 6 rounds of the F1 2014 season, we're not exactly where we want to be, but we are starting to make progress in this season, catching up to the likes of Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso. We overtook Daniel Ricciardo last time around at the Monaco Grand Prix, and we did close up the gap a bit to Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. However, there is still a long way left to go. We need to just make sure that we keep on beating those drivers. It's going to be difficult here today at the Canadian Grand Prix because those guys are going to be very, very fast. But if they have brake issues like they did in the real-life 2014 Grand Prix, then maybe we might have a chance. But looking at the information for the weekend, it's going to be raining during the qualifying session, which is not good at all. But it is going to be dry, hopefully, during the race. First win last time around at the Monaco Grand Prix. A great race for us. Not our first win ever in our career. But of course, we have had quite a few of those, and that is the race information if you guys want to check it out. And the teammate data against Fernando Alonso. So currently we're drawing on the racing. He has got more podiums than us at the moment after getting a podium last time around at the Monaco Grand Prix. He outqualified us 6-0 right now. We'd be hoping to get him back here today. And fast laps 3-all, championship points 64 to 68. But without any further ado, let's head over to the race weekend for the Canadian Grand Prix. Okay, then we are setting our lap time right at the beginning of this session here today, because there's supposed to be a 33% chance of rain in the qualifying session. We don't want to get caught out at the end of the day. We do not want to get caught out and have to set a lap time in the rain and be right down at the back of the field. So we're going to set one now, and fingers crossed it is going to be enough to get us into the top half of the field once again. This lap has been pretty good so far. It's been good, it's been consistent, but has it been quick? We're not too sure at the moment because nobody else has set a lap time. So we are going purple right now. That is only because nobody else has set a lap time in the field. So we're going to come down towards the line, take the shortest route to the start-finish line. It's a 1:16.7, but will that be enough to get us into the top half of the field? Let's find out. Pole position, baby! Pole position here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Our first pole of the season. What a fantastic result. Monaco was a great result for us. It's a track where I do tend to do well at. Canada, that's just a track everyone does well at, of course. Surely this is a track where if we don't get pole, or at least if we don't get into the top 5, it's a bad result. So I'm very, very happy with this pole position at the Canadian Grand Prix. It is an easier circuit to get a pole position at, but you know, I'm still going to take it. I'm still going to take that pole position. First one of the season. Getting it in early, unlike F1 2013, where it took us all the way up to the final race in Imola before we got that pole position. Can we convert it, though, into our second race win of the season? We're just going to have to wait and see. Lewis Hamilton, he qualified in second with Nico Rosberg third. Daniel Ricciardo in fourth. Beaten my teammate for the first time this season, as Fernando Alonso qualifies in 5th, Sebastian Vettel's in 6th, Nico Hülkenberg 7th, Felipe Massa in 8th, Valtteri Bottas 9th, and Kevin Magnussen rounding out the top 10. Any surprise in qualifying? Not really. So what can we do from pole position in the race? Let's find out. It's race day for the Canadian Grand Prix as we line up in pole position for today's race. What a fantastic qualifying session it was yesterday. Getting our lap time in early before the rain came down. That may have helped us at the end of the day. We're not entirely sure because we just fast forward all the way to the end. But 0% chance of rain in today's race, which is exactly what we want to see. Looking at the race strategy though, starting on option tyres, pitting for the primes on lap 8 of this 18 lap race. And teammate challenge, there we go. First out qualified for this season. Can we, though, turn some of those black squares into green squares after today's race? We're just going to have to wait and see. But anything else to talk about? No, not really. So let's head down to the track and get today's race underway. There we are, sitting pretty at the front of the grid for the first time this season with Lewis Hamilton. That's the first time this season that he has not started from pole position. He could have made it 7 out of 7, but unfortunately it was just not the case here today. I've got my teammate of Fernando Alonso way back there in 5th place. We can see the start lights. We go to 5 red lights. It is lights out, and away we go for the Canadian Grand Prix straight away, putting it up into rich mix for today's race. A good start from myself. We just now need to keep it clean, make sure that we don't get overtaken, and make sure that we stay in front of the 2 Mercedes drivers, as it looks like they've been too busy battling each other down in towards turn 1, and that's given me a huge lead already. Okay then, 1 lap into this Canadian Grand Prix. We have a nice comfortable lead at the moment over Lewis Hamilton. He seems too busy trying to defend against his Mercedes teammate of Nico Rosberg. They're not exactly working together to try and get the 1-2 here today. They're too busy battling each other. Fernando Alonso is a further 2 seconds back from Nico Rosberg right now, so that's good news for me in today's race. Have a nice little gap to those guys, nice little gap to Fernando Alonso as well. I'm loving this battle at the moment between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. It's really helping me out in today's race right now. I've got a 3.3 second lead over Lewis Hamilton. Those 2 guys are so close to each other that they're just putting each other off, so it's really helped me at the moment in today's race. Question is, though, can Nico Rosberg overtake Lewis Hamilton? Of course, those 2 are having their own little battle for the championship right now, so it is vital that one of them finishes ahead of the other. They are so close in today's race standings. In today's driver standings, sorry. It looks like Nico Rosberg's got the job done. He's moved above Lewis Hamilton, and that will help him to increase his lead over his Mercedes teammate in the Drivers' Championship. Will he now, though, go on the hunt for me? Fingers crossed he doesn't. It's that time, then, of today's race. It's pit stop time here at this Canadian Grand Prix, putting it down into the lead mix. It's been quite a boring race so far. After sort of Rosberg got past Lewis Hamilton, I've just been in the lead. It's been, yeah, one of those races where it's been quite dull. Hopefully, this pit stop phase livens it up a little bit. I'm not 100% sure whether it would do that. Lewis Hamilton has already been into the pit in today's race. So can he perform the undercut on us? I don't think so. I can't see him coming down the start-finish straight at the moment. Of course, you do miss out turn 1 here at this Canadian Grand Prix. There he goes, down in towards turn 1 now. And it looks like we are going to come out ahead of the Mercedes driver. Nice and cleanly, but will he come out ahead of Nico Rosberg? I think he might have actually done it. Did he get past Rosberg? Did he get past him? Bottas is at the moment up into 3rd place. So it was Bottas. No, Lewis Hamilton has actually got down in towards P4 at the moment. Bottas up into P3. I'm in 2nd. Rosberg, actually, no, Rosberg I think is in P4. Then you've got Hamilton in P5. And Fernando Alonso at this current stage of the race leads the way. But that is mainly because Alonso and Bottas have not pitted yet in today's race. So once those 2 guys come into the pits, it should be myself in 1st, Rosberg 2nd, Hamilton 3rd, and then Fernando Alonso back down into 4th. So there is Alonso into the pits for today's Canadian Grand Prix. And there we go, moving back up into the lead of today's race. Fingers crossed we can stay here. We still got 8 laps left to go in this race. Still a long way left to go. We are just over the halfway stage. And we still got Nico Rosberg 2 seconds behind us. And Lewis Hamilton, he is not far off either. It'll be interesting to see whether those 2 will have a little battle once again, as that was not a good line through that corner. That's going to allow the 2 guys behind us to catch up. If those 2 could keep on battling in this race, 1, it will give me a further gap to them. And 2, it will allow Fernando Alonso to maybe have a chance of getting up into 3rd or 2nd. Lewis Hamilton now right on the tail of Nico Rosberg. We can't see either of those 2 drivers on the minimap at the moment. It's going to be up to you guys to sort of looking in the top left-hand corner of your screen and in the minimap now. So we go through the final chicane. Lewis Hamilton got the job done. He has got the job done on his teammate. And of course, he is going to get DRS down this straight. So that is going to give him a bit of a gap to Nico Rosberg. And at the moment, the driver's standings, Lewis Hamilton takes the lead and has a 2-point lead over Nico Rosberg right now if it was to end like this. Cutting ahead to lap 12 now of this Canadian Grand Prix. We've got a driver just ahead of us. Looks like he may have had a problem in this race as he's come into the pits for what I assume is a second pit stop. I can't think that that's only been one pit stop and he is this far down in the standing order at the moment. It's a Marisha, so of course it could be possible that he's just been this slow in today's race, but I'm not too sure at the moment. Max Chilton is the first back marker that we're going to be getting past here at this Canadian Grand Prix. Just moves out of the way and does a good job there. Will he hold up the two Mercedes drivers? I don't think so. I think he may have actually held up Nico Rosberg a little bit, who's now going on the attack of his teammate once again in this Canadian Grand Prix. We're just going to go through the final chicane. Unfortunately for Nico Rosberg, he can't get the job done. He's actually backed off quite a bit. That is a huge gap at the moment that he has between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Looks like Hamilton closing up the gap to us. He's closed up 0.5 of a second in the last lap. So we need to concentrate now, because we were nice and comfortable a couple of laps ago, and now it doesn't look like it's that way anymore. 4 laps left to go then in this Canadian Grand Prix. And with that, we've got Lewis Hamilton right on my tail now. I don't think he is going to be close enough to go for an attack down towards the final chicane. Not just yet, but he may be able to have a chance down in towards turn 1. He is very quick at the moment. Do not know where he has found this pace right now. Maybe it's just I'm struggling on the soft tyres. But Lewis Hamilton very quick at the moment. We're coming up to some lapped cars, so maybe we can throw a couple of those in his direction and get a bigger gap to the Mercedes guy, because at the moment we are not comfortable. Okay, we've got the 2 lap drivers ahead of me going side by side down towards the chicane. That's going to help me get past this Lotus driver. It's Pastor Maldonado, who should move out the way fairly simply, which he does. Unfortunately, Lewis Hamilton gets past him nice and cleanly as well. I was hoping, you know, Lewis Hamilton would be held up a little bit, as we're now catching up to Marcus Ericsson in the Caterham. He should as well let me through very, very quickly down in towards the next chicane. Can Lewis Hamilton get past okay as well? I think he has done. No, I think he may have been. Yes, he got held up quite a bit there. Good news for me in today's race. It's going to give me a bit of a gap with these 3 laps left to go in the race. 2.4 seconds now is the gap to Lewis Hamilton. He lost out a lot of time just getting past that back marker. Fingers crossed we can hold on to this gap now. Final lap here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton has caught up to the back of me once again. Could he possibly try and get past me on the final lap of this Canadian Grand Prix? He's definitely going to have a go. It's 7/10 is the gap between us two right now. I've got Jules Bianchi in the other Marisha ahead of me at the moment, so we'll be trying to get past this lap driver as soon as we possibly can to throw him into the path of Lewis Hamilton like we did with Marcus Ericsson. Jules Bianchi just ahead of me. He's getting blue flagged now. He's going to pull over to the right hand side. I feel like Lewis Hamilton is going to get through nice and cleanly as well, which he does. Okay, the battle continues here then on the final lap of this Canadian Grand Prix. Let's just keep it clean. Let's just stay ahead of Lewis Hamilton. He is so close to the back of my car right now. Oh my god, this is going to be close. Okay, no mistakes. Clip the apex in towards the final hairpin. Okay, we need a good exit out of this corner all the way down towards the final chicane. I think we've got some good acceleration, but Lewis Hamilton is going to be so quick all the way down this straight, especially with DRS to his advantage as well. But unfortunately for him, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough just yet. In towards the final chicane, through the right, then the left, down towards the line. Can Hamilton do anything? No, he can't. And it is our second race win of the season. 2 in a row, baby. What a result. Forza Ferrari, get in. What a result. Exactly what we need. This is what we need to do in this 2014 season. We had 5 races where we just had no pace at all, and I was getting annoyed and frustrated, and now it looks like I have finally learnt how to play this game. Okay, Canada is one of those circuits where it's quite easy to get a good result at. Monaco, we got it done by strategy, so at the moment it's not necessarily down to our ability. We will find out next time around at the Austrian Grand Prix if we have got some good ability and some good pace on this game. If we can win at that race as well, then we are definitely going to be making a title charge. But we are the race winner here today. Lewis Hamilton second. Nico Rosberg completes the podium, which means that now Lewis Hamilton overtakes Nico Rosberg in the Drivers' Championship. There's a 2-point gap between those two drivers. I've gained 10 points on what was the championship leader at today's race. So that is a good result for myself. Fernando Alonso finishes in 4th with Sebastian Vettel 5th. Then Valtteri Bottas in 6th. Felipe Massa 7th. Nico Hülkenberg 8th. Sergio Perez 9th. And Jenson Button gets the final championship point here today. Where was the Red Bull driver? Daniel Ricciardo not finishing today. So that is 2 Red Bulls in 2 races who have not finished the race. Disappointing there for the Red Bull team. Kamui Kobayashi is the other driver who did not finish. Any other surprises in today's race? Not really. Once again, the Saubers, actually no, they're quite a bit off the pace today at the Canadian Grand Prix. Nowhere near getting any championship points in today's race. Let's have a look at the driver standings then after the Canadian Grand Prix. So Lewis Hamilton, like I said, now leads the way in the Drivers' Championship. 2 points ahead of Nico Rosberg. We were only 48 points behind the Mercedes driver now, so we are starting to close him up. Okay, it's slow at the moment, but there is still a long way left to go in this season, and anything can happen. We're ahead of Alonso. We are ahead of Vettel. We are up into 3rd, and we are now going to be pushing for the Drivers' Championship. Fingers crossed we can come back in this season and get a pretty decent result. Looking at the Constructors' standings then before we end today's episode, we haven't closed up the gap to Mercedes in the Constructors. I don't think the gap now 103 points. So there's still a long way left to go if we want to catch up to the Mercedes team for the Constructors' Championship. We need Alonso to start putting in some decent races. We need to sort of forget what happened at the start of the season and start to get into this new rhythm of maybe winning races and getting podiums across the rest of the season. We've moved a little bit further away from Red Bull Racing as well. So it looks like 2nd place is going to be a good position for the Ferrari team at the moment. But that's it for today's Canadian Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Formula One content. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. And I will see you next time at the Austrian Grand Prix. Yeah, that's right. The new race on the 2014 calendar. But until then, it's goodbye from me.